Okay, so there is this false idea that is circulating, that has honestly circulated for a long time, that once you become a Christian, your life becomes easy. Now, this could not be farther from the truth. And I'm not saying that you cannot have a beautiful, abundant life with the Lord on this earth. But what I am saying is you are guaranteed trials in this life, whether you believe in God or not. And I kind of want to talk about this idea of going through trials and how we can use them to really submit ourselves to the Lord and come out stronger on the other side of them. And before I go any further, I want to show you a verse that's relevant, one of my favorite verses in all the Bible, and that is James 1, 2 through 4. So it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." So as you can see, the scripture is very clear that these are the things that we must go through. And I just want to tell you, you cannot be averse to trials. This idea that I just want to go through life and I want everything to be easy. No one that's had anything of any substance, no one that's lived a life of any substance has gone through a life that is easy in any way, shape, or form. And with that understanding, I think it's important to say that you need to learn to laugh when you encounter trials of any kinds. You know, the small things that can interrupt your day, whether it's a flat tire or anything with your car, honestly, can ruin your day. You know, whether you have kids and your child is just running amok, and if you're not at that stage in life yet, you know, if there's just things not going your way, if you've been applying for jobs and you haven't been getting those jobs, you need to understand that the Lord is using these trials right now to teach you something. And instead of complaining, which the Bible tells us specifically to keep complaining out of our mouth, we need to ask the Lord, what are you teaching me? When you ask him, what are you teaching me? He will answer you. And another idea that we have to understand is that trials bring us closer to the Lord. Along with perseverance, just having that closeness, that intimacy, that reliance on him is something that we take for granted. It's something that we just think is, you know, when the big things happen, if you will, when there's a death in the family, when there is something of huge loss, if you get laid off, if you go broke, any of these things, we just think, okay, now I'm going to trust in the Lord. Now I'm going to ask him to make a way for me. But we need to understand the Lord is also working in the little things in our life, the macro problems, if you will, that we just complain about and that aren't necessarily life-changing. And we need to lean into those things just as much as we lean into the big things too. Ultimately, what the Lord wants from us is closeness. He wants to speak to us. And it's up to us to listen, or when things get rough, complain. And in that complaining, we just distance ourselves from the Lord. So my challenge right now is for you to think about the things that are giving you trials and troubles right now and ask the Lord, what are you trying to teach me? Really lean into that. And you'll begin to not only see what he's trying to teach you, but you'll begin to hear the audible voice of the Lord. It's just a way of getting closer, these types of things. And you have to understand, everyone on earth, whether you are a believer or not, goes through these things. You are not excused from hardship because you are a believer in the Lord. In fact, you are actually probably going to experience more hardship if you are a believer in the Lord. But like I said, that doesn't mean you're not going to have an abundant life. That doesn't mean you're not going to be free from those things. You just have to understand that the Lord is trying to teach you something. He wants you to persevere. He wants you to show him how strong your faith is by really relying on him through these things. And the ultimate example we can go back to is Job. And I'm not going to go too far into Job because I want to honestly dedicate a full video to Job and the example that Job sets for us. But just go to the scripture when you have these, trials happening in your life, even the small things, and to think of Job. That is something for us to lean on as an example of how we can best persevere through hardship and troubles. And another truth I want to share is that as you get older, things will just get harder. And I know that is not necessarily a encouraging thing, but I want it to be an encouraging thing, because when you start to lean on the Lord, though things may get harder, it'll be easier to deal with them. You need to be able to have the resolute faith in the Lord to get through those big things that will happen down the road, and trust in him to deliver you from those things. If if you encounter trouble in marriage, if you encounter trouble in child rearing, again, you need to be able to have the firm foundation of the Lord to lean on, because these things are so difficult. They're so difficult to get through without a foundation in the Lord. So have it. Work on it now in the little things. The Lord wants us, my notes are falling over. The Lord wants us to remain steadfast in him. He wants us to be able to fully rely on him. And he gives us tests to see whether or not you're going to do that. As the first verse that I mentioned said, consider it pure joy when you face trials. Learn to love the trials. Learn to know, okay, the Lord is really trying to push me, but he wants me to get through. He wants me to get through. He's never going to try and break you. He knows that you can get through, but you need to partner with him. You need to know that he is there next to you, and you need to put your faith in him, and he will get you through those things. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope you're able to learn something. Until next time, God bless. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.